Organ harvesting. Let's talk about it. We can start right here with the Washington Post. Organ traffickers lock up people to harvest their kidneys. Here are the politics behind the organ trade. December 7th, 2016. Pakistani police recently raided an apartment near the capital, Islamabad, and released 24 people who were locked inside, brought and held there through deception and threats. The terrified men and women were waiting to be taken to a clinic to have a kidney removed, unwilling participants in a global phenomenon known as organ trafficking. Here are some key facts and insights about this illicit activity and the efforts against it. What is organ trafficking? Organ trafficking, the sale and purchase of human organs for transplantation, is a widespread crime. Estimates put the worldwide number of commercial transplantations that involve payment for the organ, at about 10,000 annually, roughly 10% of all transplantations. In most cases, the organ is a kidney sold by a living person illegally. Many countries have laws that prohibit the selling and buying of organs and ban physicians from transplanting. Many countries have laws that prohibit the selling and buying of organs and ban physicians from transplanting organs obtained through payment. This practice is also banned by the World Health Organization, which requires organ donation to be altruistic. What fuels the organ trade? The shortage of organs for transplantation is a persistent worldwide problem. Demand for organs significantly outstrips supply. Consider the following statistics. As of early 2016, 100,791 people were waiting for life-saving kidney transplants in the United States. Yet in 2014, only 17,107 kidney transplants took place that year. That year, 4,761 Americans died while waiting for a kidney transplant. Unable to obtain an organ at home, patients from rich countries might choose to travel to developing countries where they can buy the organ and have it transplanted. In the developing countries, organ brokers lure poor, uneducated individuals into selling their kidney through the promise of financial gain and a better future. Economic need drives most organ sellers, but in some cases, as in the Pakistan case above, actual coercion is used. Such cross-border form of organ trafficking is known as transplant tourism. Which countries are involved? The organ trade typically takes place in developing countries whose hospitals are advanced enough to offer transplant services. It originated in India in the 1980s. In the following years, Pakistan, the Philippines, Egypt, and China, where the organs were alleged to have come from executed prisoners, became hubs of commercial transplants. Such illegal transplants are also known to have been done in Turkey, Kosovo, South Africa, and other sites. The patients typically come from the rich countries of East Asia, like Japan or Taiwan, the rich countries of the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, and Israel, as well as the United States and Western Europe. But wait, why prohibit a trade that may save people's lives? This is indeed a question that libertarians raise. They argue that legal organ sales are an expression of individual liberty that would allow many patients to regain their health while financially benefiting low-income individuals. Yet the existing medical consensus prohibits the organ trade, based on the ethical view that human organs are not a commodity to be bought and sold. It is also argued that the trade is inherently exploitative, since it is the poor and vulnerable members of society who sell their organs to the rich. Furthermore, kidney sellers receive only a small fraction of the $100,000 to $200,000 typically paid by patients and rarely experience the hoped-for economic improvement. Many, in fact, suffer a deterioration of their health, which further worsens their financial problems, along with a sense of hopelessness and social isolation. And patients might also be disappointed. Given the often inadequate pre-transplant evaluation and substandard medical treatment, commercial transplantations might yield poor health outcomes and put patients at a higher risk of surgical complications, infections, and organ rejection. Organ trade, also known as red market, is the trading of human organs, tissues, and other body products, usually for transplantation. According to the World Health Organization, organ trade is a commercial transplantation where there is a profit, or transplantations that occur outside of national medical systems. There is a global need or demand for healthy body parts for transplantation, which exceeds the numbers available. As of January 2020, there are more than 100,000 candidates waiting for organ transplant in the United States. The median wait time for heart and liver transplants in the U.S. between 2003 and 2014 was approximately 148 days. Average time waiting for donor organs varies significantly depending on the patient's UNOS status. Patients listed as heart status A1 wait an average of 73 days. There is a worldwide shortage of organs available for transplantation, yet the commercial trade of human organs is illegal in all countries except Iran. Despite those prohibitions, organ trafficking and transplant tourism remain widespread. However, the data on the extent of the black market trade in organs is difficult to obtain. The question of whether to legalize and regulate the organ trade to combat illegal trafficking and organ shortage is greatly debated. This discussion typically enters on the sale of kidneys by living donors, since human beings are born with 2 kidneys but need only one to survive. Organ trafficking, the unseen form of human trafficking. Organ trafficking, a lucrative global illicit trade, is often a lesser discussed form of human trafficking among anti-human trafficking stakeholders due to its intricate and often stealth nature. Trafficking sex and/or labor are the more commonly thought of forms of human trafficking among public policy leaders and general awareness campaigns. However, organ trafficking holds a critical place with transnational organized crime groups due to the high demand and relatively low rates of law enforcement. Organ traffickers profit in the shadows, while their destructive medical footprint is the only thing that is felt. It leaves vulnerable populations, aka donors, and first world beneficiaries, aka recipients, open to severe exploitation and a lifetime of health consequences. This form of illicit trade also leaves the private sector, in particular the financial industry, susceptible to being an unknowing conduit for its facilitation. Although, with the right training and raised awareness, financial institutions may play a pivotal role in unmasking organ traders by way of the financial trail they leave behind. Low supply, high demand. When describing organ trafficking, there is often confusion as to how this crime can happen. Global Financial Integrity, GFI, estimates that 10% of all organ transplants, including lungs, heart, and liver, are done via trafficked organs. However, the most prominent organs that are traded illicitly are kidneys, with the World Health Organization estimating that 10,000 kidneys are traded on the black market worldwide annually, or more than one every hour. On their own, these numbers can be stark. However, when compared to an average wait time for organs in developed countries, one can start to better understand the demand being diverted to black markets. In Canada, It is estimated that the average wait time for a kidney is 4 years, with some waiting as long as 7 years. In the U.S., the average wait time for a kidney is 3.6 years, according to the National Kidney Foundation. In the UK, wait times average 2 to 3 years, but could be longer. Hiding in plain sight. Once obtained, trafficked organs can be transplanted to recipients in the most reputable of hospitals in major cities throughout the world. But makeshift operating rooms and houses have often been the clandestine location for such transplants. Traffickers orchestrate the recruitment of the donor, often from a place of vulnerability, and victims are not necessarily properly screened for their qualifications to be a healthy donor. Desperate patients in need of an organ may fall prey to a trafficker who could be posing as a reputable representative of an altruistic organ matching organization. Financial exploitation plays a key part in both sides of this scenario. In addition, organ traffickers could also be involved in other forms of human trafficking, such as sex and/or labor trafficking. Cases are emerging where an organ donor may have been a victim of sex trafficking and/or labor trafficking as well as a victim of organ trafficking, creating a multi-level equation of exploitation. The term transplant tourism is often utilized in describing this crime, as defined by the Declaration of Istanbul. Corneas from $30,000, lungs from $150,000, heart from $130,000, liver from $98,000, kidney from $62,000. Transplant tourism. Organized crime groups are known to be behind trafficking in human beings for organ removal, drawn by the substantial profits that can be made. Information suggests a wide spectrum of actors are involved in organ trafficking in North and West Africa, with connections to the medical sector in countries from Africa and beyond, notably in Asia and in the Middle East. Trafficking in human organs can be done only in the framework of complex networks. Due to the required skill, medical specialists, surgeons, nurses, logistics, matching compatible patients and donors in healthcare facilities, analytical laboratories, clinics, operating rooms. The report shows probable links between transplant tourism, where a patient travels abroad to buy an organ for a legal transplant, and the THBOR in North and West Africa. Vulnerable communities. Organized criminal groups profit from the desperation of the unemployed, migrants, asylum seekers, and refugees to coerce them into selling an organ. Victims of human trafficking for sexual and labor purposes also find themselves at additional risk. The techniques used for the recruitment and control of the victims are the same as those used for other types of human trafficking. So as you can see, organ trafficking is a real thing. It's a real problem, and it's a real crime. And with all the vanishing acts we have going on in our world right now, I had to look into this. Because you keep hearing it and it sounds like a mythological creature. Oh, organ harvesting. Oh, nobody wants to hear that. That's taboo. It's a conspiracy theory. But what if it's not? What if people are being taken so that someone else can live? Damn. That's devastating. Talk about turning a good thing bad. I mean, you want to save a life, that's a good thing. But taking a life to save a life, that's very bad. Very bad in my book. So we see that it's happening. We see where, we see how, we see why. So how can we not see the probability that this is where some of our people are going? Just something to ponder and some facts to go with it about organ trafficking. I'll see you in the comments, beautiful people. Be careful out there.
Kids missing just sickens my mood. Now I got an attitude. You think I won't battle food? I will slap the fuck out of you. Maybe I am a radical. I'm charged up with a matador. You don't love the kids, why do you got them for? I tell the truth, how they got out the door. These cases I can't ignore. You damn right, I want your face on the floor. We lacking info pimping, I'ma need more. See, it's the truth that we want. You supposed to love your kid, the truth is you don't. Somebody bring them parents up to the front. Them kids been missing for months. Damn right, I'm mad, pimp, I done had enough. Oh, my business, bitch, I don't give a fuck. I might just tear this shit up. Now we got summer, we got horse, and we got orange. Like the parents, they don't care. I'm like, what the fuck you doing? All of the YouTubers pursuing, they do more than what you doing. Now how the fuck you gonna influence? Your reputation done been ruined. Why they taking these kids? I'm so sick of this shit. Remember that kid they left in the car? Sydney Deal, she had a bum for a father, and it was hot as Nevada. Just break the window, but he wouldn't even bother. He making kids, now that's really a problem. What about that fella Kawan? The lady picked him up was a mom. Now Kawan was a friend with a son. I can't believe what they done. They found his body in the sugar cane field. Now his parents gotta shed some real tears. This ain't how the fuck we supposed to live. If you got a kid, show them that you love them, cause they leaving on the dub. Protect them, gotta keep them covered, cause there's some evil motherfuckers plotting, waiting just to touch them. Don't you think this shit is nuts? They taking kids out by the dozen. It's so many living in your city limits. If you think that they offended, that mean you think this again. It only take a single man. Evaluate the way you live. This was a blessing you was given. It's gonna hit you different if your child just end up missing. Why they taking these kids? I'm so sick of this shit. Why they taking these kids? I'm so sick of this shit. Why they taking these kids? I'm so sick of this shit. Why?